I'm Salad and I saw Star Trek the original series, The Doomsday Machine. It is directed by Mark Daniels, written by Norman Spinrad, and if you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts when we're following the USS Enterprise, and they just have encountered a bunch of debris and like rocks and all that fun jazz. And you know, they're just having a little bit of a cruise when they encounter the USS Constellation. We have another starship like the USS Enterprise, and this guy is on board. Specifically, Commodore. There's a Commodore on board, and he's the only one on board. So we have Kirk, and we have Scotty, and like a few other people. They all go and beam down to the USS Constellation. They transport her down, whatever, beam down. What is the actual action of the process of being beamed down? We got the transporter is, you know, the transporter, that's the machine, but is it called beaming down or is it like transporting down? Let me know in the comments, chat. Commodore Matt Decker is just alone, and he seems to be grieving. He's in a state of shock when we have Kirk and the rest of the landing party. They encounter him. And they're like, what happened here? Where's your crew? And it's like, oh, there is this planet destroyer thing. You might have encountered it along the way, but there's this planet destroying thing. It goes to planets, just eats it up. Kirk's like, there was a solar system here. What happened? The planet, the Doomsday Machine, technically. That's the episode title. It's the planet destroyer. He just goes through planets and eats them up. Then there leaves a bunch of debris. It just eats planets. That's pretty intense. It's very tragic how the Commodore lost his crew. He's like, oh, I encountered this planet-eating device. And also, they keep on firing upon our ship. And it's just going to get us. And it's just going to eat us. You know, it's going to leave some damages. And it has damaged the Constellation. The USS Constellation. And his thought was, okay, I'm going to beam down my crew to a planet because the ship's about to explode. It's all broken. It's all in disrepair. And then the planet destroyer eats the planet that his crew's on. Oh, and he just leaves him to just be there alone. I'm like, this is... I don't know if you knew what you were dealing with at the time, but I really don't think you should have beamed your crewmen down to that planet because they're now gone. And we have Kirk here. He's like, okay, McCoy and Decker, that's the Commodore's name. His name is Matt Decker. Go up there. Go up to the USS Enterprise, and we'll just have Scotty and we'll be down here trying to have it in tow. You know, we have to. We have to respond to a sister ship that's in need, you know? It's nice. I like that. And so they're in space and they're having a little bit of a space tow. And what's interesting is that the USS Constellation has its engines damaged. It can't really do any impulse power at all whatsoever. Well, it kind of can, but it's really damaged. And we have to have Scotty kind of do a bunch of engineering wizardry to even attempt to get this ship moving. So, you know, it's just here. Spock was left in command, and his instructions were to stay away from the planet as far as possible. Warn the Federation. But now we have the Commodores on ship. He assumes leadership, and he's like, all right, guys, you're going to fire upon that thing. You're going to go fire. We're going to fire it. And I find it interesting because everyone on the bridge seems hesitant. They seem a little bit hesitant. But they still go with it because, you know, it would be mutiny if they didn't. Is that the word mutiny? So anyway, we have Spock here. He's like, let me assure you of my captain's instructions. And Commodore's like, don't you know, regulation, Enterprise regulation? I could take over this ship at any time that I want. Oh, goodness. Spock's like, fine. All right, you got the ship. Go ahead, start shooting at it, right? And it gets to the point where he's like shooting at it, pew, 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 pew. And it also gets to a point where Kirk is able to take the viewfinders and view what's happening in front of him. And he sees the Enterprise is firing upon is just firing upon this device. And I'm like, that's not what orders Kirk gave. Immediately, Kirk is questioning. I'm also like questioning. But part of me is like, oh man, I hope Kirk understands that this is not Spock's doing. This is the Commodore. I know there's some communication issues going on, such as the communications are down, and so it's hard for Kirk to get a hold of the USS Enterprise, and they just keep on firing, phew, 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 phew. And then there's a point where they just start getting tractor beamed, and the Commodore is there, and he's like, we gotta go fire, we're gonna fire at him. And Spock's like, hey, you have to relinquish command if you're not of mind, and leading us to a suicide mission is not of mind, so you're gonna have to relinquish control. And it takes a couple of attempts for him to relinquish control, because at this point we have the communication is now put back together, and I like the journey that the Commodore goes through. Kirk's like, this is my ship. You are not to command my ship into a suicide mission. This is an order because it is my ship. Spock, I am ordering you to make sure he doesn't lead and take him to the sickbay. Finally, he relinquishes control. They're able to pull out of the tractor beam, which is nice, with another distraction, which is cool. And then we have the Commodore goes to the sick bay, and then he's like, oh, I'm sick, blah, 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 blah. And then he starts beating up some security guards. He goes to the shuttle deck, what is it called? Shuttle dock? And he takes one of those ships. I'm trying to think of what the name of it is. A shuttlecraft? A shuttle pod? I don't know, man. It's just one of those extra ships within the Enterprise. And he goes into one of them, flies off. Obviously the bridge is notified. They're like, who's opening the door? It's like, nobody I know of, sir. And there's just the Commodore there. He's like, all right, it's time for me to go straight in the middle of the planet machine. The Planet Destroyer Machine, the Doomsday Machine, as it were be called. And he's just, like, dealing with survivor's guilt. He's like, man, I feel so bad. I should have died with my crew. Now I'm alive and everybody else is dead. We have the Commodore. He's just polling in Independence Day, which came out 30 years after this episode did. So it makes me think maybe Independence Day is doing a reference to this, but I'm not sure. If you're an Independence Day fan / expert and also know this episode of Star Trek, and you know for a fact that these two are like connected, as in Independence Day is referencing this Star Trek episode, let me know in the comments below. It's probably not connected, but you know, this reminded me of Independence Day, where he just goes in the center, he's like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, and it doesn't do anything. His sacrifice means nothing, which is sad. And Kirk's also sad, because he's like, his sacrifice meant nothing. Actually, maybe it doesn't mean nothing. Alright, everybody, anyone who's left on the ship, go beam up. Scott, you're gonna stay here. Scotty, you're gonna stay here. We're gonna figure out this engine situation. Alright, oh, you mean to tell me that you got the impulse engines to work? Okay, cool. Keep doing it. Keep doing it good. Oh my goodness, we're getting some speed. Hey, that's nice. And Kirk's like, okay, I got a big brain idea. I saw what the Commodore did. Maybe something that he's doing isn't completely, totally wasted. He gave me an idea. What if I did it with a bigger ship? And so he's manning the Constellation, and at some point, it's a fun tension building, because we beam up Scotty to the USS Enterprise, but there's like a transporter issue. It's like, okay, oh no, this is bad. And on top of that, Kirk has to get close enough to the thing where it will start the tension thing, the tension grabbing thing, of the Planet Destroyer. Like, what is it called? Oh man, I'm like blanking on it. I'm blanking on the term tractor beam. He has to have like a sort of tractor beam going on. And then what's fun is Kirk's getting really awfully close, too close for comfort, and everybody on the Enterprise is like, come on, dude, beam up. But the transporter is being fixed on, and it just breaks after Scotty comes up. And meanwhile, we have like a device rigged to explode after Kirk hits a button, and then hits the button. He's like, all right, beam me up. Oh, sorry, the transporter broke. You're out the way. And then Scotty is just here trying to fix this transporter. It's like, okay, I gotta fix it. And it like gets really close. It gets like 3 seconds. It's like, all right, beam him up. Beam up the captain. Let's go. And then, like right before it shows that the captain was beamed up upon the ship, it shows the ship going into the planet, the Doomsday Machine, the planet destroyer. It goes into it, it just disables it. It explodes from the inside, and then it's just disabled. It's done, it's dead. And Kirk is okay. I really like that. I like that Kirk is okay. The Commodore had a great idea and was able to save this planet destroyer from going all across the galaxy and all across the universe and going around and destroying a bunch of planets. So I really like that. And Kirk is like so kind, as he's gonna be like, I'm gonna write him a really nice active duty thing. He died in duty and he did his duty good. And that's what it is. Overall, I like this episode because it shows the chain of command. What happens when a person who is in higher authority than Kirk takes over the USS Enterprise because, freaking mosquitoes, because of their ship is completely wrecked and they have no crew. And so I like seeing what type of person and commander Matt Decker is. And he seems to be the type of person to be like, okay, I'm going to make these decisions that are, for the best of the world, but I'm going to face directly, like, I'm going to start beaming at the side of the Doomsday Machine that is impenetrable. I'm going to keep beaming at that. And I'm like, why? You know it's impenetrable. Why are you doing this, Commodore? So I like seeing the temperament of the Commodore, and I like seeing how Kirk handles it. Whenever Kirk can, he has authority, but he prefers to be nice and respectful towards the staff. But whenever it is needed, he will be like, this is my ship, this is my authority, you listen to me, you better be listening to me, And I like that. He has like a strong hand over his ship, because it's his ship, and she's a beauty. I wonder why they call ships females. Just like calling a car a female. It's called the Enterprise. Not the what's the masculine name? The Mason Prize. That starts with an M, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this is a fun episode. I like seeing the characters come out and the chain of command come out, and also dealing with the planet destroyer thing. So I gotta give this episode, it's a solid 8.2 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one the platform really likes, and if you want to fast track a movie review, you can do that for $20 redeemos at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you'd like to help with the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree, find the way you can help with the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, so you can go here. And until next time, mint salad saw, I see you later to my sour croutons and bacon bits. Boop! Beam me up!